How to draft wide receivers. Let's take a look at some tiers on Fantasy Football Today in 5. I'm Adam Azer. I'm joined by Chris Towers here. All right, Chris, you said something on our full-length show that I thought was very interesting. You talked about the rounds in which you might just kind of pepper the wide receiver position, the tiers that you really like. So lay that out for us.
Yeah, so I think, based on history, what you see is that the first 2 rounds in particular are the places you get the best return on investment from your running backs. And, round 3 is where it starts to slip. Wide receiver stays pretty solid all the way through at least the 5th to 6th round range. Over the last 5 seasons, there have been 49 wide receivers drafted in the 4th and 5th round on average. 29 of them scored 200 plus points. I think 200 plus points is probably the range where you can say that guy's a very good, or at least a good starting player. So you got about a 60% chance all the way down to the 5th round. Whereas in the running backs, 8 out of 35 in that same time period, top 200 points. So I think the ideal way to build your team is probably something like 1 or 2 running backs in the first 3 rounds, and wide receivers between 3 and, really 8 are, where you want to get the core of your team, your pass catchers at least.
Right. Not to say 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 should all be wide receivers, but
although I've done it before, certainly.
3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 6 straight wide receivers.
I mean, in a 3 wide receiver league, you're probably starting 4 wide receivers in a 3 wide receiver PPR league. So having as many chances to get a starting caliber wide receiver is really important there.
Yeah. Yes. 6 though. 6 is a lot. I mean, that means you're almost certainly missing out on Hawkinson, Andrews, Pitts.
Oh, I've already got Travis Kelce.
Okay, well, if you have Kelce, you're almost certainly missing out on Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, Mahomes, not to mention. But okay, all right, go hog wild. Back to wide receiver tiers here. When you look at the elite ones at the top, what's the first tier?
For me, I kind of think if Aaron Rodgers is back, it's Davante Adams. I think he is in a tier by himself with the way he's played over the last couple of seasons. Otherwise, I think you're looking at Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, and Stephon Diggs along with Adams in some order, and I would throw Michael Thomas in there, especially if Jameis Winston is the starter.
All right, and then after that, you've got Ridley, Jefferson. Any surprises for you when it comes to who you might have? Michael Thomas is a bit of a surprise as a tier 1 guy. How about a tier 2 guy?
I would put Robert Woods in the 2nd/3rd tier. I have him 9th overall, so right behind Justin Jefferson, right ahead of Keenan Allen. I think that's probably pretty surprising, but he's in the tier with Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin for me.
You like the Rams wide receivers.
I do. Cooper Kupp is the top of the next tier for me.
Right. So I didn't bring this up on the full-length show.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that scares me about the Rams wide receivers is Matthew Stafford's health.
Sure.
And he has played 16 games in 2 of the last 3 seasons, but he played through a broken back and played very poorly 3 seasons ago. Mm-hmm. Then he played 8 games. And last year he left on the opening drive of 1 game, which isn't really a huge deal. But he's an older quarterback at this point, and I am worried about that with them. So nobody seems to be taking that into account, it seems.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. But then you look at the other guys in this range, and Keenan Allen's got a rookie quarterback who we're hoping doesn't have any kind of, or a second-year quarterback. We hope he doesn't have any kind of sophomore slump, but it certainly wouldn't be out of the question. DK Metcalf has a quarterback who seems unhappy with his situation. We're not sure what their offense is even going to look like. They may go back to being really run heavy. Terry McLaurin has a quarterback who, let's just say throughout his career, the higher the hopes for him and the higher the expectations, generally the worst he tends to perform in Ryan Fitzpatrick. There's a reason it's Fitzmagic and not just Fitz awesome all the time. So I think there are questions for the Rams, sure, but I think that's true of a lot of the wide receivers outside of that elite tier.
I'm sorry we did not get to more tiers on Fantasy Football Today in 5, but don't worry. We did an exhaustive, extensive look at the tiers, probably 50 wide receivers or so on Fantasy Football Today, and it was outstanding. So please check it out, and we'll talk to you tomorrow with our tight end tiers here on Fantasy Football.